wait till we're on here. Should take us to this pretty soon.
Is that like another video?
I don't know. I don't see us on here yet, but people are writing us. Hold on. Yay! Okay.
In disbelief.
Okay. What's up, everyone? I hope you can hear us. We've been having technical difficulties with our camera, but we're here now. I'm Tarah. This is Cobe.
Hello.
And you love my lips. Yes. And basically, we coach full time at OWC. We partnered up with them a couple years ago, and we've been really, really busy lately because of all the contests and everything that's going on in Orlando, and we've been spending a lot of time in the boat. So let's see. We already have questions. Cobe, are you still competing? Still riding in Weddington? All that stuff.
Riding with Weddington or riding a
I don't know.
I actually I got hurt this winter, so I was in an unusual accident. I was burned in a fire, and so I haven't been riding for 3 months now because of that. But I'm anxious to get back on the water. I'm cleared to get back on the water, and I'll start riding here in probably in a couple weeks, and probably ride maybe about 3 or 4, probably about 4 times a week. And so to answer your question, I'm not competing as of now, but before I got hurt, I was riding pretty much almost every day, probably about 5 days a week. So I am still riding quite a bit, and just trying to recover.
What's up, Debbie? Debbie and Jeff just stayed with us this weekend, and they're on. And we taught them to wakeboard, and we went to a Greek festival, and kind of made the most of Orlando. Let's see. Cobe, you want to know how you keep in such good shape?
Well, I just started working out with Shawnee Dishman, who's doing triathlons now. So you know what? I'm doing a lot of swimming, biking, and running. So, but before that, I just would try to have fun and ride as much as possible and just stay active. And I always go to the gym. Well, I don't always go to the gym, but I try to find fun things to do: playing basketball, surfing, riding the cable. Like the cable's really good because you get to do a lot of exercise without even thinking that you're doing anything. So I like to do more sports stuff.
The guitar makes me look like I have Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to have Mickey Mouse ears. Sorry, it's coming down. Let's see what else have we got. Do you think they'll ever get a gathering of old timers together for a Legends competition?
Yeah, they're actually doing a Legends competition right now. If you last year, I know Ricky G really headed it up, but there's actually at Worlds there's a division for pro veterans. So you had to be in the top 30 and you have to ride on tour, I think, for 5 years or some. There's some criteria with it, but there is actually an event, nationals and worlds, that you can ride in that caters to the guys
It's
that
like pro veteran, is that
yeah
something like
pro
that?
vets. And so yeah, there's actually divisions that allow that to happen now. So I think that's pretty cool.
All right, let's see. What's up, Houseman? That's actually kind of a hard question to answer about how long I've been riding. Basically, I grew up water skiing. I did that professionally until like through when I was 21, and then that was about 4.5 years ago that I first put on a wakeboard, and so I haven't really been riding all that time. I rode for the first year and did amateur, and I won nationals and worlds, and then the next year I rode pro, got to ride at the Masters, and then in August, right before worlds, I blew my knee out, and then tried to come back, and then 9 months later had to have a second knee surgery, and then kind of again did like the whole rehab thing, and then last year tried to come back and ended up doing a series of injections in my knee. It took 8 months, but I was able to ride through it and like keep, finally getting my legs stronger and my knee better, and then this year actually ride and not be terrified that it was gonna explode again or something. Um, so I've been on a wakeboard for 4.5 years, and let's see, what is it like to compete against all the new women coming up in the sport? It's awesome. It's great to have a bunch of new people and I, young people. It makes me feel old, and I don't think I'm old, but at least you see new things all the time. And whenever there's new people around that try things that maybe you didn't think to try, it just pushes you, and I think it only makes us better. Um,
So there's something going on at OW.
Things are always going on at OW.
But right now at OWC right now, we're getting ready for weight games. We just had gravel tour last weekend, and now already they're putting in the sliders or the transfer box and the rooftop right now in OW. We were out there all day today, so they're setting up for weight games this weekend. So that's pretty much been the big thing going on right now. So a lot of people are getting ready, practicing, and getting ready for weight games right now. So that's going to happen this coming weekend, and it's going to be packed. And we're already seeing a ton of people around riding, getting ready for that. So that's pretty much what's going on right now.
But there's always, they're always building new rails, and if you guys haven't been out there and seen the one with the boat in it, that one's really fun. And there's we have a Sessi Tech that's here, the 2.0. It hasn't been put in yet, but that's in the works. And yeah, there's always stuff. Um, let's see. We missed a couple.
Cobe, you still sporting the NBA? Was that
What's
White?
up, Robbie? Teammate Robbie. Um, what is one thing you would like to come back from the past in wakeboarding?
One thing I'd like to have come back. Let's
Like directional boards or those neon shorts that everybody used to wear. Anything like that?
That's a good question. Actually, you know what I'd like to? They didn't do it much, but they did have a big air event, which it was just off like a big kicker. It's kind of like the double up competition, or at the end of your passes you get to go off the kicker. But I remember we did have an event just catered to the kicker one time, and that was actually pretty legit. It was pretty awesome, and I wish they'd bring that back because that was guys just going really big off a kicker and doing some tricks off that. So that'd be fun to see again. But I don't know. I mean, I think the sport's evolved pretty good with taking the good points of the sport and integrating it into competition. So I think that's a good thing. Is that the integrated double ups, integrated just being able to free ride out there and not have to write down runs. So I mean, I think the things have happened for the best as far as the riding's going.
Let's see. Larry asked about the transition from water skiing to wakeboarding. Um,
I don't know. I didn't water ski before.
you've been around for it though.
That's true.
I think, obviously the bonus about it is that I've been on the water my entire life. I learned to ski when I was 3 years old, and so that obviously helped me, and I understand the concepts of line tension and edging and handle passing, stuff like that. So that, as far as the background, is really good. But there's so many things in water skiing that are true that are not true in wakeboarding, and vice versa. Concepts that make sense or don't make sense, and a lot of things that I've had to just really relearn and just start from the beginning, where it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. But it's been a good process, and I feel like actually when I did have to go through that long hiatus with my knee being just the biggest pain in the world, that I really had to take my time and figure out how to do everything properly, and I couldn't just like force it. So in a way, it helped me.
What's everyone saying about
Which one?
you've been riding?
Who?
Been riding a lot.
Kobe, you've ridden a lot of wakeboards. What has been your hands down favorite?
My favorite wakeboard was the Oasis, the O'Brien board that I rode for years. I rode it. Randy rode it. There's a bunch of riders that we had that were on that board. That board was by far the best board. It released good. It was fast. It was. It just was. It was solid. Such a consistent board to ride, and I wish that. That just seemed to be an era where the board was really really good. It was the O'Brien Oasis, and it was just an awesome board. What? Who's saying what?
Cobe, a friend said that you have two fake teeth. There's no way is that true. It's actually not true. It's three. Actually, it's four, but only three of them are on the flipper.
So hopefully that answers the question.
Let's see, Lauren. My ankle is feeling better than it did when I got out of the water today. I've got it wrapped up pretty tight. I've been icing it, but I think it's all right. Like I can walk around on it and stuff. So, let's see. And now come the teeth. Yep. Your teeth look real. It's good.
Thank you.
How many students do you typically teach in a year? I imagine you could go anywhere in the world and have a hookup. I think we figured out it was like 2,500 a year.
We did 2,500 lessons
Something
last
like
year,
that.
so that's a lot of those guys are doing more than one lesson. But we did 2,500 polls last year, and we have guys from all around the country. I mean, fortunately, I was able to travel so much in the past that we still have a lot of people that visit us that we've met on the road. Tarah's been in the sport for long enough that we have a lot of repeat guys that come and see us, and then so that's the good side of the sport. Coaching is awesome, and I don't think there's much that's more gratifying to see somebody learn a new trick and to kind of just help them get it a lot faster than they could if they were just on their own. So I think that's just a great side of the sport, and after watching so many people ride, you just can pick up on things and just guide them along the way, and it makes everybody progress.
Okay. Rick, I want to thank you for that nice lead-in about my shirt. This is a 1080 shirt. Let's see which way do I turn. I recently picked them up as a sponsor this week. Just signed with them like a few days ago. So I'm really pumped on it, and I've been sporting their gear ever. This is Coco. She's a stray that showed up at the lake, and we adopted her a few days after Christmas. And she really likes the computer. Anyways, like I was saying, I just signed with 1080, and I'm so stoked on all the gear that I just got, and my Lips shirt and all that stuff. I've been wearing their shorts and their vest and just rocking out to it. I'm really stoked on it. Let's see. Any advice for getting kids to go wakeboarding? Well, we teach a lot of kids, and the ones that are especially terrified, we take them on our boards with us. So you can do it on the cable or on the boat, and we carry them, and then kind of set them in between our feet and still keep a good hold on them, but then they get the feel.
We want to make sure that they be very careful.
Well, yeah, to bring them to us, we'll teach you to wakeboard. If you don't know what you're doing, don't carry a kid with you. That's kind of dangerous. But the other thing that we found is they have what are those the tubey things?
Well, they have this new things where they have skis like with tubes that actually surrounding them, so they float a lot better. So they basically can start getting the feel of going behind the boat. But I'd say the main things is like anything you could do behind the boat, even if it's a kneeboard, a tube, or whatever. Just get them behind the boat, get them comfortable in the water with their boards on, flipping around in the water, floating in the water. Just get them comfortable, and then if there's any possible way you could get them down to us, we teach everybody a good age of reference. If they're 6 years old, they're ready to go for sure. If they're a little bit younger and seem mature enough to go for it, absolutely. But if they're 6 or older, definitely we could work with them. That seems to be the age where they really seem to get it and really can actually ride on their own.
What's up, Shay? Yeah, that's a lot of hours on the boat, huh? We we actually
Is that Shay your?
I think so.
Huh.
We actually maxed out the hours on our Nautique 230 last week. We've had it for just over a year, like a year and a month, and the hour reader is stuck at 999.9 hours, and it's been there for like 2 weeks. So we know that we put a lot of hours in. Let's see, what else have we got? Do you all do wakeboard camps out there, like the weekly sessions?
Absolutely. We do. Actually, I think most people don't realize that we actually specialize in camps. We do camps pretty much all year long. We actually have 2 camps going on right now, which people, you can pick your days. We go to lake every day. We're there all the time, and so we run camps constantly. That's actually a big part of what we do, and that's really, if you really want to have fun in advance, there's nothing better than be able to work with somebody for multiple days in a row.
See, do you ever do traveling workshops like you used to do, Kobe?
You know what? I do. I still do a lot of clinics on the road and stuff. I don't have anything scheduled this year, but I know I'm going to a few wakeboard events to watch the team. Right now, I'm O'Brien team manager, and I am going to some of the events to watch our riders, and I probably will do clinics around those events. So I'm not sure which ones we're going to do, but I would imagine within O'Brien, we're going to plan some dealers and stuff like that.
Well, actually, I got to go. What? Why are you kneeing me? It was a cat. He started kicking me. I'm like, I didn't do anything. Um, um, I got to go to Australia this winter, and coach there for a couple of weeks. So that was probably one of the coolest things ever. It was a family that they've come to the U.S. and had me coach their daughter. I think they've made 3 trips here, and then they were finally like, "Can we just bring you to Australia? It would be easier." And so they set up clinics for me to coach their daughter and the local skiers and riders down there. And we made a couple weeks of it. It was really cool. And then at the end, I got to travel around and go to the Cable in Penrith and visit some friends and see Sydney, which was amazing. And yeah, it was a really cool trip. Great thing for the winter. Like, it's cold here, you all know. What is the worst accident you've ever seen one of your students take?
Ooh.
We've been pretty lucky, I want to say, like with our students. Like,
Oh no. Was it David, the guy that ran into the wall?
don't tell that story.
Okay. There was an accident about I don't know, about a month ago with one of our campers, and he was here for a 5-day camp, and he was getting pretty good and pretty confident. But what he did is he got on the whip around the boat and actually hit the dog. Hit the dog pretty hard. He was fine, and
He came up. He's like, "I'm okay."
Yeah. He came around, but that was a pretty scary moment. Nothing bad happened, but that could have been really, really bad. But unfortunately, didn't. We don't really. It's funny because like we've seen it so much that if something's gonna happen, we usually are off the throttle before they even hit the water, so you don't see majorly bad injuries.
Concussion here or there, wake skate to the head once, and like.
Yeah, but you know what though? We're on the lake all day long, and so we see guys falling on the cable, and I've seen some hard crashes on the cable. So we get to see plenty of good crashes.
Let's see. What's up, Joe Molly? I haven't seen you in forever. Come to Florida. Let's see. Todd, how did you two meet? Before we get into how we two meet, Julian, you know better than to ask questions like that.
What did he say?
Any Mikacich babies?
Oh my God, Julian, you know better.
You know better.
No.
Absolutely not. Stop asking.
We got a cat.
Yeah,
close enough.
We're done. Okay.
This is crazy.
Kobe, do you want to tell people how we met?
Yeah, sure. We met at Bish and Ronnie's wedding, and that's where we met. We met at the wedding. What does that say?
Okay.
Kobe is
abusing his wife. Why would you do that?
I
don't know. Where can I find the rates for your traveling camps? Well, you can find rates for our camps at OWC at OrlandoWatersports.com. And just click on Coaching with Tarah and Cobe, or Kobe and Tarah. When you know it's us. But as far as traveling ones, we'd have to set something up, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Are the international fans pretty amped? Seems like all the pictures they have in the magazines always show the fans going crazy over the riders.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the craziest place that I've been was in China. I think those people swarm you, like, and I don't think it's because you wakeboard. I think it's because you're like blonde or something, but it's really cool. Um,
See, Brad, I'll come watch you ride Knoxville. Hey, Say I Want Clothing's from Knoxville. So there's a bunch of good riders there. Knox is the owner of Say I Won't, and they're in Knoxville. So there is some wakeboard companies in Knoxville that you're right there. So
let's see. Wedding begets wedding. Is there ever a time when you get bored with wakeboarding? Oh, and somebody asked what we do when we're not wakeboarding too.
when we're not wakeboarding, that's a really good question. I like cars, sports cars. There's a go-kart track locally here. We go surfing. Tara and I just went surf Typhoon Lagoon, which is the wave pool here in Orlando. So we just did that last week a couple times, and then we just like to play sports. Occasionally we go to movies, but if it's anything to do with sports, be active and be outside and cruise around. That's pretty much what we do.
There's not very much time that we aren't either wakeboarding or coaching wakeboarding. Like it's maybe once a week, so we end up like paying bills, cleaning up the house, running the errands, like go to the gym. But it's pretty constant. Is that Raimi Merritt?
Where?
Are you competing in weight games? Yes, of course. I'll be there. Probably going out right before you.
There you go. And then who asked me if I'm still in Monavie? Absolutely. I take Monavie every day. Matter of fact, I took a huge class of it today. No, it's good. I've actually used that product for a long time, and it's a great product, and I still use it daily. So it's good stuff.
It's Hamad.
Hamad, what's up, buddy?
He misses us.
I miss you too, man. Come back. Hamad just came to our camp for a week, and so he had a great time. So there you go. So we do have campers out there, and hopefully he'll come back with a group of people.
Yeah, he did awesome. He learned so much in that week. I think his hands were all blistered by the end, though.
Camp hands.
Yep, camp hands. How many boards do y'all go through a year? I, up until this year, had never broken a board, but I've been riding a lot of cable lately, and that... It's stealing my water? And that has, just being on the rails a lot has made me... I've probably broken, 3, but I usually try to, use a boat board and a cable board so that I don't wear them down, quite as quickly. What about you? You don't go through a ton of boards either, do you?
I don't go through a ton of boards anymore because I don't try to land hard. The more you ride, and so let's say you've been doing a front flip forever. Well, you'll figure out how to land it soft or whatever, and so honestly, you kind of learn what the board will take as far as pressure goes, and you'll try to ride it softer in those points. So back in the day, I used to go through probably a board, maybe one a month, but I mean I was doing 4 to 5 sets a day. So that's more than people will ride in a couple years, just as far as sets on the water. So
the O'Briens hold up really good.
Yeah,
In comparison to some companies, they're strong boards. They're
Right now, I'll switch out a board maybe every 3 months, just because maybe I'll anticipate it getting soft, or I'll have a new board or something new to try, or just get a fresh deck. So I'll go through about one every 3 months. But most riders that are riding a lot, they're gonna go through a board about one every other month, maybe one every 2 months or so.
Let's see. Pana. We use the Nautique 230 out at ODEP, and that boat has been so amazing for us. Such a clean wake. We've got it weighted really good, and like I said earlier, we've had it over a year, and we've had, I think we've had to have it taken in one time. to have something
No,
fixed. Like
the
that was it.
Nautique has been
So
a great boat. Somebody asked me earlier if I was still with MB, and I'm no longer with them. We work with Nautique now, and the boats have been phenomenal. They've been really good, very reliable, and great boats.
we did not plan the black shirts. What's up, Lorena? I'm so glad you tuned in. We went to Rollins together.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, she's newly married. Let's see. When you teach a beginner, what speed do you typically pull them at?
We go the speed that they're comfortable at.
Yeah.
It varies for everybody. So we'll go the speed to their ability.
Um, let's see. Like, I think we usually end up in like, especially if they're real beginner, it ends up around like 15, unless they're super small. But like, I always drive by hand if it's somebody beginning because then you can like, you've got the throttle and you can kind of save them or whatever. So I don't ever lock in the cruise control when I'm driving a beginner. Um, Lindsay Horton, no way. Of course, I miss the hot Louisiana Bayou only because of you. Man, that water is so nasty. I always tell people about that summer we were out there. Lindsay and I used to ski in Champion Lake in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we took the temperature of the water one summer in like July, and it was 104 degrees. 104 in the water, and it was like this like brown, mucky, nasty. Oh my gosh. And like you'd pull your skis out and they would look like you just dipped them in gasoline. It's so disgusting.
I don't like gasoline.
No, yeah, Cobe doesn't like gasoline anymore. But when someone is attempting a first invert, what speed do you recommend?
That's interesting when somebody is trying a new invert. There's a couple things you can do. Like I'm not a big fan of it, but we do it every once in a while. We will shorten the line a little bit and slow down a couple clicks. So it also depends on what trick they're doing because some tricks project out, like for instance, like a tantrum might project and give more distance. So in that case, I wouldn't shorten the line and hopefully get them landing weight to wake. If they're doing, let's say, like a back roll or a toe side back roll, a toe side back roll tends to not have a lot of distance. And so that might be a trick that I'll shorten the line. So it depends on what trick they're trying for their first time. If it's a tantrum, I'd leave it the same. If it's toe side back roll, I might shorten it depending on how they're coming through the wake. So it really just depends on the rider. So we change it up. That's probably the main thing with us is that we adapt a lot of our coaching for every single rider. So so we don't typically, I mean, we have the same techniques, but every person is a little different, and so we don't beat up on stuff that they're already doing. We just try to focus on stuff that they can get better on.
Let's see. Checkers wants to know why it's so hard to learn a tantrum for the first time. Dude, I can relate. That I know how most people land that trick. That's like the easiest thing for them to learn. That has been like the hardest thing for me to, like, I could probably do 8 inverts before I ever landed a tantrum, and then even then it wasn't very good. And the only thing that's made a difference for me is riding on the cable. I learned them off of one of the kickers at the cable. I don't know where you're located, but like just out at OWC, there's a little kicker. They call it the knee breaker, but they changed the angle, so it's not so much a knee breaker anymore. And I learned them off of that, and right away started making them on the boat. So that would be something that I would definitely recommend for learning the tantrum because it makes you not have to cut as hard, and you can start getting the rotation. Let's see what else. How do you keep from getting super nervous before a big competition?
Actually, you know what? Okay, before an event, there's a few things that you can do for an event. Preparation is very key. If you can have a run set before your event, okay. So obviously ride hard, train right, but do your event prior to the event. If you can do your run prior to the event and get through your run comfortably, then you've done the necessary preparation so that you can ride in that event. That should relieve a lot of nerves. And when you're going into an event and you're super nervous, typically that comes from not being prepared and ready for it. So that's what I do. There's a lot of people that just get nervous. So, hopefully if you're prepared and you're ready and you know what you're going to do, then just relax and just focus on that, and hopefully that'll relieve some nerves.
But I
What's this
think,
one saying
but I
about
think
converts?
also that like you have to set your mindset like one how it is when you're in practice. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it can't be a completely different thing when you go to an event because that won't be something that you've practiced. So you want to ride like you do, but then also like I mean, I have to remind myself to just like have a good attitude and be happy about it because a lot of times you get to the event and you're like, oh, what about that wake? What about the wind? What about the setup? Like, this isn't gonna be right. That and you have to be like, dude, I get to wakeboard today. Yay! You know,
Yeah.
like it's a good thing. You get to wakeboard. Go do what you do. You know. Um. So that's it. There was somebody that asked about getting a nautique for a family. If that's good. Yes. Good. Cobe, when you were competing in the early years, what was it like to know you were all creating a future sport?
That's a really really good question. Question is, how it was competing in an early sport. Um, it it was crazy. I moved from California to Florida to become a professional wakeboarder, but I didn't know when I left that there really wasn't professional wakeboarders. When I left, I I don't know, for some reason I thought there weren't. So when I moved to Florida, we created positions for companies. We convinced them that we're, gonna ride hard, train, build this sport, and they would pay us to do this. And so the first couple years, it was very frustrating because, you travel around and you were, had this job of being a professional wakeboarder, but nobody knew what it was. Then the sport took off and it just went crazy, and it was awesome. It was a lot of attention. There was a lot of growth in the sport. I always say this to people. There was 10 good riders back in the day with 30 good sponsors. So there was it was really easy to get sponsors. It was really easy to get paid, and it was just a phenomenal time because everything was on the upswing and growth. I mean, there are companies that I went with that sold 160 boards the first year I went with them. And 3 years later we were selling 1,200 boards. So I mean, there's just crazy growth through the first few years of the sport, and being on that upswing was just, it was a rush. It was a constant rush, and we were just going off adrenaline, and we worked hard though. Like we were constantly going. We never stopped, and so it was a great time in the sport, and it was a lot of fun.
They want to know how you got your start.
Um, Good question. I was in California working construction at a lake house up at Donner Lake, and we would wakeboard during the weekends. And my mom saw an exhibition on TV, and she's like, "You can do that stuff. Why don't we go to an event?" We fly to Denver, Colorado, to go to the Tommy Slalom, and I went there. There's three divisions: beginner, open, and pro. I entered in open, and if you entered in that and did good, you could ride against the pros. Well, I won that event. Got to ride against the pros. I did fairly well against the pros, and I got sponsored with O'Brien that day. So that's how I got started. So I got started right away, and the rest is history. I moved to Florida and just went crazy with it. So that's how I started.
Okay, I've got a couple in here I want to answer.
Okay.
First, does Cobe coach you in your riding? That's a very interesting question. We have decided that Cobe does not coach me. He will help me if I really need it, but he's not my coach, and it makes being married a bit easier. So
Most of you that aren't married, when you do get married, you understand this, but we're actually still married, and we go in the boat together.
but
So
that took
you'll
a lot of
understand
work.
that. You'll understand that later.
Yeah. See, I can finish rides now, and we'll still both be smiling. But for the first couple years, that was not a possibility. Just so you know.
So I do not coach Tarah, but I'll pull her.
He pulls me, and every once in a while, he'll be like, "Hey, go up the wake." That's what happens. He'll be like, "Up first." That's what I get. Like no words, just. Okay. Let's see. Aussie Sheila! It's Bianca. It's her family that brought me down to Australia this year. and she just had a personal best in tricks this last weekend.
Bianca, good job.
And
That's awesome. Hey guys.
so I got your email earlier. It sounds like you're gonna come in like a month or two. That'll be
Awesome.
awesome. She wants to trick 7,000 points and slalom into 12 meters. You better be willing to work hard. None of this, I'm tired. No, I'm just kidding. But I can't wait to see you. Um, let's see. What's up, Brady? Thank you. Let's see. What countries have you trained people from aside from the States?
What's
Like
that?
everywhere. What countries have you trained people from? Right now, we have people from
Gotcha.
Korea and Germany that are here to do camps with us.
And David's riding too.
Ireland,
David, Ollie.
Great Britain, Kuwait, Australia, lots from Canada, lots from all over the UK, Sweden. I mean, like, honestly, we're at ODub, which is in the middle of Orlando, which is like tourist, like, capital. So if they didn't come originally to see us, they came because they drove by the site and then they were like, hey, teach us wakeboard. We're like, oh, where are you from? And it's someplace really random, you know? Oh, yeah, we had the Chinese team come out and stay with us for like 3 weeks last year. We really have lots of South American and Latin American countries. Spain, everywhere. Who are the craziest fans?
Japan.
Japan.
Definitely Japan. Yeah. Like when I went to Japan, they were crazy.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
Japan and Portland, Oregon. Those guys are crazy up there. They're the craziest fans.
That's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Kuwait, Hamad, what's up? Okay. Is there a lot of riding in the Middle East now? Oh yeah, and Israel.
Israel, yeah.
There are a lot of competitions in Abu Dhabi nowadays. It is amazing to see the impact wakeboarding has made across the cultures. Cobe, did you ever think that it would take off like this?
No, I didn't. I definitely didn't, and I never thought it would. And there was an interesting thing. My first big trip, first big international trip was to Japan, and when we got there, what were we doing?
I wanted to see how many people were on. Sorry.
When we went to Japan, it was crazy. This was the first big international trip that I went on. And we got there, and they had a container full of our wakeboards, and we sat there, our whole team. We sat there on a table and signed these wakeboards, and they had probably about 15 to 20 people, like unpackaging the boards. They'd take off the wrapper, we'd sign them, they'd package them back up and put them in another container. And we sat there for hours signing that in Japan, and it was just crazy how many people were around us that whole time and how big it was there, and that was pretty crazy. And then I started going to Australia every winter, and so I had no idea what I was involved with, and that was definitely an eye opener. The amount of people that took to the sport and how fast it grew. So that definitely was something that I was not really ready for, but man, I was all for it though. I love it.
I would really like for you to answer this one.
Okay, what is
Do
it?
you ever run into any intense students, and what's it like to deal with them?
All the time. The number one thing that we and I think most wakeboarders are like this. Most, at least advanced good wakeboarders, they're pretty mellow on the water. I mean, they're pretty mellow. They take their time. They feel a lot. You know, they feel the water. They feel the wake. They're really in tune with stuff going on, and they're pretty mellow for most part. You can get aggressive, but most good riders know how to calm it down and time it and pace themselves. And so when we get really intense, aggressive riders, most of the time we're telling them to relax and slow down. So we get that all the time. A good example, a really good kid, Brad Spencer, that now rides for O'Brien now and is awesome. He's ripping and doing so good. I mean, he's one of my favorite riders right now, and when we first started riding with him, he was really he's really kind of frustrated in his own riding, and the main thing with him is we've just slowed him down because he's talented rider. He's doing nines now. He's doing Como fives. He's doing sevens. I mean, he's doing really good. He's going to ride at weight games this weekend, so watch him. But that was one guy that we just kind of had to just kind of work with him and just find out a way that we could work with him, but he could also work with us, and that's been a really fun guy to be coaching for so long and watching him get better and he's awesome.
Mellow. Brad's like, I'm pretty mellow. He rode today with me today, and I coached a little bit, but mostly I just said, Brad, calm down. Just calm down.
He is now. He's very controlled now and a good rider. So
a very good rider. What do you think needs to happen to push free riding to the next level?
Interesting question, because I think the sport does a pretty good job of like free riding already. I mean, this is one of the sports that you can be a free rider and still
and have a pro model
and still do the sport and still get paid for it and make it a living. I mean, you look at most sports out there, with the exception of snowboarding and even freestyle motocross. Now those guys have to compete so much. So I think the sport's done a pretty good job as far as free riders go. I mean, they get a lot of press and they get a lot of stuff, but it's also part of the sport. I mean, the competition is as much as people want to try to get away from it, I think it's great for the sport. I mean, it gives it a focus and a hub and a spot that people could come and see it live. So free riding, hopefully the tournaments will always reflect free riding, and I think they're doing a good job with it right now.
Well, here's an interesting one. Who is the pro out there that became pro the fastest from starting riding to becoming a pro?
I'll tell you an interesting thing. Do you want to answer that?
Well, yeah, no, okay. I don't know.
I have one guy, you all know who it is, Sean Murray. Okay. One day I was riding at Eric Perez's house. Okay, this was a long time ago, okay? I'd already been on tour for a while. I was riding with Weddington, Eric Perez, and this kid shows up. Sean Murray shows up that night, and he goes out and rides, and he's riding like a 60-foot rope, going like 14 miles an hour, doing his tricks, and then the big dogs get out there. I get out there, and Mike get out there, and we're riding 75 feet, which was like,
a million miles back.
It was hardcore back then. We were going 22 miles an hour. And so we ride, we do all our stuff, and the next morning, Sean comes out riding with a 75-foot line, going 22 and sticking everything. And I was like, this kid's awesome. So like, I call him a kid, but we're like, he's not that much younger than I am. But anyways, Sean was able to like literally adapt overnight. I don't even think he rode in between, and just maybe made a decision that that's what he's going to do. And it was like he didn't miss a beat or anything. And that's the quickest. That was one thing that always sticks out in my mind, of somebody just being able to be on it instantly, just like that. And then the next thing you know, he was on tour that year, and gosh, he went from probably his first year on tour, ended up winning, most of it, and in the top 10 right away. So I would say Sean Murray was the fastest guy to come on tour and really be established.
All right, shingles. Murray is not anywhere near as tall as Cobe is, but he is as classy as they portray him. He's really, really stand-up guy. Like, never will have anything bad to say about him.
Murray?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really amazing. I like to go ride with him and get away from the lake sometimes, and he's really been supportive of me, and so I'm really, really grateful and thankful. Whatever happened to the Flying Hawaiian, since you mentioned him?
Eric Perez is a good friend of mine, still lives here in Florida, just about 2 hours from us, and I get to chat with him I talk to him about once a month or so, and every once in a while we'll meet up for dinner and chill or whatever. And so Eric is probably my most favorite guy in the whole sport, and I'm bummed out that he's still not involved because he was the guy that first I think really had a good concept of board designs and really had a good concept of how to how to really like progress the sport with design and stuff. So
Let's see. Who are your favorite pros to ride with? Well, Sean Murray and Ramey Merritt. Those are the two that I ride with probably more than anybody. Besides, I mean, I ride at OWC mostly with Cobe Mikacich and whoever else is around. But as far as like getting away from work and going to go ride with other people, I ride with Sean the most, and then Ramey Merritt. She rides right down the road from me, and has been awesome enough to let me come ride with her and pull me even when she's not riding, and I got to sit out in the lake with her when we thought the boat was broken, but it really wasn't. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, I love riding with Sean. Honestly, like for me, it's very chill. It's a nice, like, relaxed environment. When I ride, when I'm at work, sometimes I feel like I'm rushed because it's, everything going on. It's still amazing to ride at OWC, but sometimes it's just nice to get away and just ride with a friend. And let's see, who has had the most impact on your riding? I don't know who they're talking to.
you.
But I don't know the answer to that question.
Who's had the most impact on my riding was Eric Perez. Definitely. Because he was the one that was around when I was learning pretty much how to. I think if you look back at the phases of how you learn stuff, I think you progress really fast, and then you kind of carry that throughout your career. And Eric Perez definitely had the most impact on my riding, just because he was around and related to that and the time that I was trying to get better, and he was there. And I remember the first day I got to ride behind the Skyline behind his boat. I remember riding the first prototype twin tip board on his boat, and I remember riding the first prototype compressed board that was half-inch thick. He was very influential on that.
Let's see. Yeah, Keith rides out with Murray a lot. Actually, I think they're kind of just like riding partners every day. He was out there last week when I went, and yes, he goes as big as they say. And he's really fun to have around and great to ride with as well. Let's see. What is the best state to ride in? Florida not included. See, the thing with Florida is that it's warmer than any place else.
What was the question?
The best state to ride in, not including Florida.
California.
I disagree.
California for sure, because that's where I'm from.
Yeah,
West
but
Coast,
they kick you off the
California.
lake all the time.
Who cares? It's
They're
California.
like, hey, where's your flag?
Where
Where's all the other stuff we have rules about? And then they kick you off.
What does it say? Cobe is what? Multitasking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was texting Greg Nelson. Just flew in. He's on his way over here. So I'm sorry. I'll pay attention.
Let's see. Actually, that site in Georgia that we have the Pro Tour stop is really nice. I know it can get blown out, but when I rode there, it was glassy.
Center Hill.
Oh, that's
Lake,
where. North Carolina.
Center Hill.
No, Tennessee.
Yeah. Nashville, Tennessee. Center Hill Lake is, for some reason, that place is awesome. It's phenomenal.
California has lake Nazis.
Yeah,
they do. That's why, like, it's nice and everything, but, like, you get out there and somebody's always trying to kick you off.
Who's that?
Blue. I don't know. Hold on.
Hey, Blue. No, Greg Nelson is a really good friend of mine from back home. I met him at the first wakeboard event I ever went to, and so we've been friends ever since. He's coming to stay with us because he's here. He's here all week for Wake Games, and Nelson is actually the team manager and marketing manager, I believe, for Hyperlight. So he actually is with Hyperlight now and very involved with them. He's been with them, I think, for a couple years now. And so it's kind of funny because now I'm with O'Brien, he's with Hyperlight, and so.
Okay.
But he's just staying at the house, I guess.
Have you ever ridden Shasta?
Oh my gosh, you asked that.
Lotion.
Nice. Lotion, absolutely. Shasta, oh my gosh. If you, that's one of the, that actually, there's an earlier question of what would I bring back. I bring back board stock at Shasta without the cops shutting it down. Board stock Shasta back in the day was phenomenal. Amazing stuff going on there, and definitely board stock Shasta, and riding in Shasta is awesome. We go actually there with Joe Sheets. Well, I've never been to Powell. So I don't know, but I think it's better water conditions than Powell because you got a lot of fingers of Shasta. So I'd probably say Shasta's probably better water.
What is your favorite trick?
What's yours?
Cross-side roll the blind. I think that trick looks so cool. I used to do
it's
it on my
cool.
trick ski, but I don't know how to do it on the wakeboard yet. But that's such a cool looking trick to watch. There's a few that are really fun to watch though.
You know, that's a hard trick because that changes for me all the time.
But like
Hey, what's that thing?
toe side off axis, toe side off axis, backside spins.
Yeah,
those
toe
are really
side
really
off
cool to watch.
axis, backside spins. I think look pretty sweet.
Let's see. I've got a word bed. This has been fun. Any chance you're going to do this again? Sure, Cap. No problem. This is our third show that we've done, so we'll just keep going till they don't want us anymore. But thank you for watching. Good night. Sleep tight. Let's see. I want to hear from some more girls on here. We've been doing a bunch of like girls ride days lately. We did let's see, Jen Gillenfart set up our second girls ride out of the projects on the Ceci Tech, and then Wake Girls set up a girls ride day experience out at the Nautiques factory this weekend, and it's been really fun to get together with a bunch of girls and kind of different levels and just hang out and ride and get a bunch of free stuff. It's been awesome.
Somebody said, what board do you recommend? Good question.
I know the answer to this.
Tara's going to answer this one.
Cobe recommends the Clutch, and I recommend the Vixen. They're the same exact board, just with guys' graphics and girls' graphics.
We what tends to happen right now is on our team at O'Brien, a lot of the guys are riding the Decade, which is Daniel's pro model. Guys that like a faster board, a little bit more responsive, lighter board, they ride the Coda. And Sean's got a new board that's coming out that's based on a flex pattern, but kind of caters to a little bit of the cable ride. It's got a slider base on that. That's a new board that's coming out. And so we actually we'll actually suggest a few different boards in the line depending on what people are into and what their styles are. But that's typically what happens. The Clutch is pretty most common that we recommend, but then the Coda, the Decade, and then we're anxious to get Sean's board out too because we think that's going to be really great.
Why is it that women riding is not near as big as men's? Because we definitely outnumber the men. I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, just at the beginning levels, I think that it's more like typical. People think that it's more normal for like guys to do the extreme sports, and so like it takes like an extra, push for women to think that, or for anyone to think that like it's okay, or that it would be normal, or that it would be fine. And then I think it's like tradition that sponsors are more used to just paying for men's events or whatever. Like it's gotten to be accepted. And I think that the more women that really push the envelope and make themselves be noticed, then the bigger our side of the sport will be. And the girls' ride days and really promoting it more, and the fact that that we know what we're doing, we can coach other people, and they can know what they're doing and can really help grow it and push each other, but I think it's just been so accepted to have us be on like a secondary level that people got used to it. What I think needs to happen to push women's boarding further. Well, kind of like what I said. I mean, the more that we're out there and the more we're riding together and just trying stuff and being even just in the spotlight, just being, having girls days, and like wakegirls.com has been doing such an amazing job of like promoting women's wakeboarding and like putting videos out and kind of showing what we're doing, and even giving, other females that are trying to get into the sport or already are, but they don't see it that much, like giving them something to look at and kind of like feed on, like you almost get like starved, and it's like you're a neglected corner of the market. But I think the more that we're visible and the more that it seems okay and normal for girls to wakeboard and really go for it, then it will. What?
Ask me what I suggest.
Oh, well then, tell them.
I think what would really help women's wakeboarding is if they had their own events.
Yeah.
Like, Girls Learn to Ride is really good, but I think if they did their own wakeboard events, I think you'd have a lot bigger turnout. Because I noticed this past weekend at Gravel Tour, I noticed a couple of the girls that were there, and they seemed like they were so nervous going after the guys that they were just uncomfortable. And so I think if girls had their own events, not a ton of them, but I think that would really, really open up the door for a lot of people that do ride, because there's so many girls that do ride, but they would never consider competing because it's a guy competition.
Yeah, there's been other sports that have done that, and actually in water sports they did that. Well, this was a long time ago, like probably 10 to 15 years ago, when in water skiing women got taken off the pro tour, and it was right when wakeboarding and women in wakeboarding were getting bigger, and they did like Women of Water Sports tour, and it was really successful. They did water skiing and wakeboarding, and they went to a bunch of different cities. But then as soon as the girls got back on the regular pro tour, they shut down the women's tour, and really we should have kept doing both.
There's somebody that asked about Dallas riding, how she's doing.
She's doing great.
Dallas is riding awesome, and to be honest with you, Nicola doesn't have a chance if Dallas stands up. Dallas is riding just phenomenal. She's actually been training really hard and riding good, and she definitely, I think she's already on top. I don't even think it's a question.
Okay, I'm gonna answer another one. How many women's competitions are there? Actually, this year on the pro tour, like we're only at the first and the last stops, but then we also have Wake Games, Nationals, and Worlds. But then USA Wakeboard is putting on quite a few events that we're at, and then there's a bunch of cable stops. Like the last time I looked at my calendar, I think I had like 12 events to go to, so a couple every month, and it's way more packed than I thought it would be. So that's really awesome. Like I'm spreading it out between different, organizing committees, but hey, whatever, like I'll go. Let's see. One thing that needs to happen is the big filmers need to focus on some women's films. Hardly ever see women in the wakeboard films. I know that women contribute to the sport a lot. Heard from one of the shows that Melissa Market was instrumental in designing the Liquid Force trip with molded fins. Would never have known that if it hadn't been mentioned. Need to hear more about that. Yeah, I think, you're probably right. I don't know about that specific example, but I know, like, most of the girls are pretty good at, like, responding to their sponsors and giving input on product and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, one of the things is that, like, it'll come from the consumers, too. Like, the more women's boards that are bought and the more women's product that there's a demand for, the more they're going to have to come, to the women's side of the sport and really promote us more and get us more involved or something like that.
Let's go with new girls and then Heather.
Oh, yeah. Are there any up-and-coming young women that we should be aware of in the circuit, and whatever happened to Heather Johnson? I'm not really sure what's going on with Heather Johnson. I know last year she was going to wakeboard again, but she's been in, like, dental school, and I think she's been really busy with that. I haven't seen her wakeboard in a while.
Um, yeah, the girls is Anna's. She's a great rider. Looks like she's riding better now. I know she kind of tweaked her knee a little bit down at Borda, but she's been riding again, so she's doing really good. There's Taylor. There's Megan
Megan.
Ethel. So those are three
And then
younger girl riders
there's
that are riding great.
actually I just met another rider from South Florida a couple months ago, Tracy Bainham, and she's pretty new to wakeboarding, but she's progressed like really fast and she's fun to ride with. And I know she's been riding a ton, so she'll be someone to look out for. We'll kind of see
We
where she
said,
goes.
I think we said Taylor,
Yeah,
right?
you did.
Okay. Yeah,
Cobe, how
Taylor.
long have you been coaching now?
I've been coaching since, let's say 13, 14 years now, because when I first started riding, people weren't wakeboarding, so we started coaching and teaching people right off the bat. I mean, just to grow our sport, we were coaching people. So part of us being professional athletes were to get people on the product and get them riding. And so for us at the beginning and still now, it's so important to teach others. And I think that's the most important thing to the sport is if you're not teaching people and consumers and people that want to get better, then you're not helping the sport. So I've always coached from the early days I started, and I've been doing this for over 15 years now. So I've been coaching on my road tour and here in town for probably over 10 years now as legitimate clinics, coaching, and stuff like that.
Thanks for watching, Blue.
What's that?
Are we paying women's wake skaters at competitions yet? I don't think so. Not that I've heard of. Have there been riders from locations that were surprised to hear there were riders in? Have there been riders from locations that you were surprised to hear there were riders in? Oh, like Kuwait? They want to know like if we've had riders come and they told us where they're from and we're like, we didn't know people rode there.
All the time. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Go down the bottom.
Oh, there. What do you think of all the lynching that is going on? Gives access to people that have never been able to ride.
I think winching's awesome. I think it's very, very cool. It's funny now because now whenever I go drive by a pond or something or a little gap or something, I'm like, oh, dude. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing that now. As you look at it, and like,
I'm always you could put a 2.0 there. That's what I think.
Yeah. No, so absolutely. I think that's great. I think it's awesome.
What's the most serious injury either of you has ever
taken? We don't have enough time tonight to go through all the injuries. The most serious injury I've gone through. I mean, I think the longest lasting one was my jaw when I knocked my teeth out and did some damage there. I mean, it's still going on. So that was a long time ago.
My knee's been the worst thing that I've been through. 2 surgeries and 8 months of injections. That wasn't fun. Is a 2.0 expensive or what happened with the jaw? 2.0, I don't know officially, but I want to say like 30 grand.
Yeah, I don't know. Check with Pat Panakis out at the Wake Park Project, I think is the website, and they have the layouts of the 2.0, and they have I think you can get in contact with them with the pricing and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what the prices is, but it's a great concept and definitely something to look into for sure. And what happened with my jaw is I was doing a blind 180 off the double up and came down and smacked my knee, and I did that and knocked some teeth out. That's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Circles.
What?
That tooth thing freaks me out. Yeah. Oh my gosh, when we first started dating, and like,
Wait, I thought we were still dating.
when are you taking me on a date?
Okay, no, we're just married now. Sorry.
Anyways, he was hanging out at my parents' house with me, and like they knew, and my brother knew that his teeth, had been knocked out, but I don't think it had like really registered. And Kobe went to eat something and just took his teeth out, and I just remember my brother being like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing?" My family, um, they are water skiers. My parents owned a water ski school when I was growing up. So I lived at a ski school until I was 10. And my mom still, is amazing, and she skis and still competes. My dad does not ski very much anymore. He will on occasion, but he's written some books. He wrote From Chump to Champ, and he does a lot of workshops with like sports families and athletic teams. My brother's a baseball player. He came wakeboarding at OWC a month or two ago, and he was awesome. He was way better than I expected. I didn't even know he knew how. I mean, he can water ski, but let's see.
I like that one. Yeah, it's funny because my job's not hard at all, but it's long hours and it's never a day off. So yeah, I'm a little tired. I got going pretty early today. I had an early start today. We started at 9 and we ended at about 7 o'clock. And so we have pretty long days, but I mean it's not hard. So I do.
No, it's a great job, but it
tired.
it is long hours in
Yeah.
the sun, so sometimes you just get a little tired.
I always say we never clock in, but we never clock out. So it's just like we're always
I haven't heard you
say it all the time, every day.
We live like 10 to 15 minutes from OWC, so pretty close. Just jet over there whenever. You swam today, and you ran. Did you bike too?
Sorry, I did not bike today. Vic and I ran, and then we swam. I swam with Rami today.
And Rami almost died.
and Mike had to pick her up in the boat. So I did a little bit today. It was good.
Oh, thank you, Allie. She said we rock. Any place that is harder to visit than others. I don't really know what that means.
Russia.
Oh, yeah. Have you been there too?
No.
You just have heard my stories.
Yeah.
I had a trip that was 12 days long there for, what was it, University Worlds?
Show us the flip. It's a backflip. That's what she said.
I'm so proud right now.
Show
I don't
us
know
the
what
flip.
to say.
What is that?
I don't know. You think you'll ever broadcast a show from OWC behind the boat?
Oh yeah,
We should do that. If we could
Good
keep
idea.
internet, that might be a little more difficult, but maybe we could pre-record and then go
Great.
live or something.
Great idea.
Get those
Great
wheels
idea.
turned in. Yep, cool. Let's see. What else should we answer? What else should we talk about?
I think that's good.
Do you guys have any more questions? Because we can let y'all go to bed if you want. We'll wait for a couple more. You tell us.
Well, I've had a good night. Thanks, you guys. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys on the road or when you guys come to Orlando. Great games this weekend, and thanks for tuning in and checking it out.
Yeah, I hope you guys get to come to Wake Games. It'll be such a fun event. It starts Thursday and goes all the way through Sunday. There'll be so many riders, and the weather's been nice, so I hope it holds up.
And come see us. Come say hi. If you see us out there on the road or whatever,
Absolutely.
come say hello to us. Introduce yourselves and let us know what's going on.
Okay. Good night.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Take care. You would talk to me if I approach you? Yes. Just, say hi. Alright, good night, everyone.